Today on Sports Central, we go over our next team projection of this offseason, and it's going to be over Vanderbilt, a team that went 0-9 overall in the 2020 season. This team was winless in 2020, but will this team improve going into 2021? And how much will this team improve next season is what we're going over here today. We're going to go over a few players that Vanderbilt will be losing, who they'll be returning, and also looking at their schedule for the first time this offseason, starting out with your previous 6 games for this team. And once again, nothing much to see here. Vanderbilt was 0-9 last season. They lost to Ole Miss 21-54, lost to Mississippi State 17-24, to Kentucky 35-38. So there were a couple of close games there for Vanderbilt that they could have won, with Mississippi State and Kentucky especially, but in the end, both those games were losses. They lost to Florida 17-38, lost to Missouri 41-0, and then they also lost to Tennessee 17-42. So just a tough season for this team. And with them being in the SEC with an all-SEC conference schedule just for the season, I mean, we all knew it was going to be tough for Vanderbilt. This team has had a huge struggle winning games in the SEC. First 4 games, obviously, they were 0-4, 0-5 in the last 5. This team was winless last season. But looking at the roster preview going to next season, you're returning quite a bit of your offense, and honestly, on the defensive side, it also looks really good. So for Vanderbilt, this team is not, like, the problem next season will not be the returning production. This team is returning quite a bit. If this team does not perform well, it's just because this team does not have much for talent, I'll be honest with you. I mean, if you look at this team, they've got talent. This team has got some good talent, but the problem is you're just not talented enough for a college or an SEC conference. I mean, SEC is the toughest conference in all of college football. I just don't see that being much of a fit for Vanderbilt right now. But Ken Seals, he was your starting quarterback. He's coming back. He actually was not the problem last season for Vanderbilt. He put up some good stats, 1,900 yards, 12 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So he did have an okay touchdown-interception ratio. Completion percentage was pretty good too. 65% is where he was at there. So Ken Seals is not exactly the problem for Vanderbilt. I mean, we've seen much lower completion percentages, out of any quarterback. So really, even his rating was 127. So, he was not a terrible quarterback last season at all. But Keon Brooks, he's coming back. He was their top running back, just right around 750 yards is what he put up. Javion Marlowe is also coming back, your second running back. He put up just right around 200 yards. Cam Johnson is coming back, your top wide receiver. Looking at him, he put up just right around 550 yards last year. Amir Abdur-Rahman is also coming back. He put up just over 400 yards. Chris Pierce, don't forget about him. And your top tight end is also coming back. So offensive side looks pretty good returning production-wise. Once again, it's just a matter of how talented this team is and whether or not this team can win games with what they've got. There was one defensive lineman, one linebacker on the defensive side, so really that's all they're losing on both sides of the ball starting position-wise. So chances of a bowl season in 2021, I'd say, are pretty low. It's worth mentioning because of the returning production here, but this team just does not have very good talent. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Ken Seals, he's a decent quarterback. He's got a lot of potential, but we got to agree here. Vanderbilt just does not have the talent that they need to have in order to be a bowl team in the SEC. We just haven't seen that in such a long time, and I don't really think 2021 is going to be an exception. Like, this team is good in other sports, but football is not Vanderbilt's sport by any means. How much improvement could there be? I could see this team. I don't see this team getting up to 6 wins by any means, but even if they could win a conference game or 2, that would be a good season for Vanderbilt and a step in the right direction. But looking at your schedule going into next season, you start off the year with East Tennessee State. That should be a win there. You got Colorado State then on the road, Stanford then after that. So those are your 3 non-conference games. You do have to play a Power 5 team there. Actually, you also got UConn a couple of weeks down, but you got to play a Power 5 team in Stanford and also a road trip to Colorado State. So you got to keep that in mind. You got Georgia then. That is going to be a tough game to start off your conference schedule. You also got Florida on the road, so you're not going to have it very easy at the start of your SEC conference schedule. I got South Carolina after that, Mississippi State, Missouri, Kentucky, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. So really, schedule's pretty tough at the start of the season, but really, after Georgia and Florida, this team has got some somewhat winnable games in the last 6 ones. But anyway, looking at your projections for this team, Eastern Tennessee State's going to be a win. So you will be starting off the season 1-0. That's good. Colorado State's going to be a close one. Stanford's going to be a close one. I just don't know with that Colorado State game being on the road. Like, Vanderbilt, I think, has got more talent than Colorado State, but who knows with it being on the road. Could go either way. Stanford's going to be a close one. Georgia's going to be a loss. I just don't see this team beating Georgia. But UConn, that's going to be a win as well. So really in your first 5 games or so, I could see this team with 3 wins. I don't know about 4 wins, but 3 wins definitely seems reasonable. Or 2, I'm going to say 2 to 3 wins for Vanderbilt seems reasonable in your first 5 games. But after that, it's going to be tough to scrape together any wins after the UConn game. I mean, you got Florida then on the road. As for the second half, I think 5 of your last 6 will be yellow games, but I'm definitely favoring all 6 of those teams in that matchup or in those matchups over Vanderbilt. I don't really see Vanderbilt being favored in any of those last 6 or even 7 matchups. But it could be close in a couple of circumstances. It's just a matter of whether or not Vanderbilt can win them. But Ole Miss, that's going to be a loss of them being on the road for 1, and for 2, Ole Miss is a good team. I mean, they're going to be a great team next season once again. So, but then Tennessee, of course, that's going to be a close one too. Your ceiling next season, I hate to say it, it's going to be 4-8. That's probably the lowest ceiling I've ever put for a team so far this offseason. But I just don't see this team. I mean, once again, with the SEC, like, this team is not this. They just do not have. They're the huge outlier in the SEC right now. Like, you've got several teams that have got some good talent. Or you've got several games with great talent, but Vanderbilt just does not fit in there. So, yeah, 4-8 is going to be your ceiling. 3-9 is going to be projection. So I'm giving you 3 wins for next season. Floor is going to be 0-12. Obviously, that's somewhat a possibility. I'd say 1-11 is more likely than 0-12. But anyway, there are some of my projections on Vanderbilt. Once again, your projection to 3-9. I'm sure a lot of you Vanderbilt fans are not going to like this. So if you don't like it, whatever, put a dislike on this video, but this is what's going to happen for you guys. Thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you later.